Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Amalgamation Council's Committee Meeting of a Whole for April 25th, 2024. All meetings are live streamed and recorded. Any written or verbal information provided may be included in public documents as per the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, FOIP 40-1. So with that, I will call the meeting to order at 9 a.m. Councillor Lougheed sends his regrets today, so I will go down the order of the agenda, and it says to adopt the agenda. Looking for a motion to adopt the agenda. Thank you, Councillor Cermak. All those in favor? And that's carried. Bree, do you want to, or sorry, Jessica? Hand up. Can you hear us, Councillor McBride? Yes, thank you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right. Okay, now I see your hand up on the screen. Thank you so much. Oh, that's John? No? Okay. Oh, that's going on. So joining us electronically is Councillor McBride. So anyways, all right. So we have that passed. Now looking at the adoption of the minutes from March 14th. Any errors or omissions? If not, motion to adopt. Thank you, Councillor Nelson. I'll call a question. All those in favor? Yes, thank you. That motion is carried. Moving on to section 4, new business, 4.1, municipally owned facilities, administration, recreation, sports and culture, and the amalgamation report. And who will be taking that one on? Okay. Hello.
Hello. Good morning. I'm Kate Braglin with Public Works Infrastructure. And I will be presenting this, and any questions, hopefully Eric and I can answer them. So within Clearwater County in the Village of Caroline, there's multiple municipal buildings and recreation areas ranging from parks, playgrounds, public services, buildings. So Clearwater County owns and maintains a total of 26 buildings and 3 recreation areas. These facilities are located within Condor, Leslieville, Nordig, Rocky Mountain House, Caroline, our North Quarter, and we call the Martin Shop, the Martin Pit, just west of town here. The Village of Caroline owns and maintains a total of 8 buildings and 4 recreation areas, and all the facilities are within the boundaries of the Village of Caroline. All these facilities and recreation areas will need to be transferred to the new municipality. It's proposed to keep all the municipal buildings and recreation areas operational with the new facility. However, to keep in mind that the new municipality council may need to reassess the current facilities and their operations, as well as the status of the integrity of the buildings. I have summarized the areas, the buildings, and what we've called them in the attached spreadsheets. And if you have any questions, we will be happy to answer.
Thank you. Looking for discussion on this item. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. 26 buildings, 3 recreation areas. Are we breaking down the recreation areas by type at all? Because we have significantly more than 3. Like, I want to say we maintain 14 ball diamonds alone, let alone all the, like we do a lot of recreation areas, a lot of trails, like, or is this just very overarching, like?
It's very overarching, so how I've tried to group it is more or less playgrounds. So we have the new Leslieville recreation area, the new community feature within Leslieville, and then the playground at Nordig.
Okay, so thank you for the clarification. Just I know we have other documentation because we're currently negotiating the rec agreement that has a much more defined list of all of the recreation amenities that Clearwater County is a part of, so.
Yeah, and this is more, yeah, we'll have our structures, you'll have your yearly inspections is where we've kind of focused these on. And then the mowing and what agricultural does is separate from this agenda.
Perfect, thank you.
Fantastic. Any more questions or discussion on this agenda item? Oh, okay, go ahead. Is it Mayor Rimmer or is it Councillor McBride? Do you have a question?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Your hand is still up, that's why we're,
Oh, mine?
yes. All good.
Is it off?
Here we go. Yes.
I think she's in here understanding one, right? Yeah, so that, I think, is the mayor.
No, the mayor is that's Jessica, because she's putting it up every time I see her click, so, all good. Okay, Councillor Ratcliffe?
Thank you, Reeve. I would make the motion that the Amalgamation Committee receives the municipal-owned facilities report for information.
Any discussion on the motion? Very comprehensive, gives a clear outline, high level, what's happening, so I think that's for great information for us going forward. If there's no other discussion on the motion, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Councillor McBride? Or-
Sorry.
That's okay.
No, I'm not.
If it's we're watching you, you may put your hand up if you'd like, that's easier instead of pressing on the clicker hand.
Okay.
Thank you. That motion is passed. Moving on to 4.2, the Public Works 5-year capital plan amalgamation. Again, I'll pass it back to Ms. Breglin.
Okay, so Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline have established preliminary budgets throughout the budget process. So below I have summarized the Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline preliminary capital budgets from the year 2025 to 2029. So I've summarized the counties, the village, and then the increase. So throughout the years, say 2025, we're looking at a 1% increase, 2026, 4.6, 2027, 5.5, 2028, 1.2. And there wasn't a 2029 budget from Caroline, so that's why that's showing a 0% increase. And that's the increase if the budgets are combined. So again, with the preliminary capital budgets, they will need to be transferred to the new municipality. Should amalgamation proceed, there will be a complete infrastructure and asset management study completed. The study will then identify priorities, and the capital budget may be adjusted based on the priorities. So staff recommendation is for the amalgamation committee to receive the public works for the Village of Caroline and Clearwater County as information. And within the attachments, I have summarized a breakdown of what is within the next 5-year capital budget for the county and the village. And if you have any questions on those, just let us know.
Perfect. I'll open the floor to questions. Deputy Reeve Maloff.
Thank you, Reeve. How were the numbers for the village derived? Like, we've gone deep into how our numbers have derived. How are the numbers for the village? How did those numbers come about?
The numbers that I have put within the agenda item are the numbers that I received from Caroline. I'm not exactly sure, and maybe someone with Caroline would like to speak how they have gotten their numbers, but that's how I obtained them, was directly from the village when we met with them.
Okay, thank you. The reason I ask is because comparing some of the numbers here with some of ours in very similar things like backhoes even, the numbers are very different, or even the cost to reconstruct a road. Is the construction of a road within a village that much different than the construction of a road for us? Because the numbers seem to be significantly different.
Sorry, before Eric gets into it, for instance, the new backhoe, there was some budget within 2024 towards that machine. And there was some road construction budget within 2024,
These
how
are
their
broken up on
carryover
years.
is working. I can't actually speak, but Eric will speak to the construction aspect of it. If he wants.
Mr. Hanson?
Yeah, excuse me. So what I can speak to is that the analytics for breaking down the Village of Caroline's construction projects have not been completed at this time. This is really an inventory of of using their capital budget, what they've projected. That work to analyze whether it be facility condition indexing or capital budget planning, new estimates to be created, that would be the job of the new municipality to take that over. Really, it's, sorry, we're really trying to just identify what's being currently proposed from the village's approved projected capital plan, presenting it to this committee, the deep dive into what exactly each one of these projects would include. You know, we have a really good handle on what we're doing with the county, and fortunately, the amounts and the work required for the village there would probably take a lot less analytics. But there will certainly be a lot of work to be done for the new municipality to be completed. But if this committee needs more information to make that recommendation here before that amalgamation process is completed, we could do some more analytics if required.
Thank you. Yeah, supplementary, please. It'd be great to have a really good understanding of what this means, right? Or if this is literally just we're gonna like keep the lights on until the interim council until the interim group comes in and then they can dive into it. But it'd be nice to have a full idea of what's going on in the village. Yeah, I don't know if that's something we have time to actually do before this vote needs to take place, but it's you get an inspection of a house before you buy it. Just as a
Observation. Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Haight.
Yes, and thank you. If I may just add, these items before the committee today are operational items. This is to give the committee a high-level view of what is all involved as far as operations for the new council. Sort of gives the committee a heads up and an awareness of what needs to be looked at once amalgamation is completed. And again, just to add on to what Mr. Hanson and Ms. Regland stated, the next phase after amalgamation during the transition period is an infrastructure assessment study, and that will give the new council that deep dive information that's needed so that they can make decisions on priorities and projects. So if that helps.
Okay. Deputy Reeve Melhoff?
Thank you, Eve. No, I recognize that the process that we're in, the new council is responsible for doing those things. I just disagree with waiting for the new council to be the one to do that. When I'm making a decision on behalf of my municipality, which is what my decision needs to be based on, I want as much information as could be possibly had. The best analogy I can come up with is when you buy a house, you get an inspection. Like, you want to know as much as you can. When you inherit a house, you don't get an inspection. Those are two different things. And we're in a different process. So getting as much information as possible, I think, is very important. So it's unfortunate we have to wait until the interim council to get that type of information.
Right. And
I've had my hand up for some time, excuse me.
Oh,
I've had my hand up. I wanted to respond to the Deputy Reeves' questioning. Now, I don't know if our CAO is online. I was assuming he was going to be online and be able to answer some of these questions. And I'm not sure if
I don't see him.
is he online?
I don't see him online, Mayor Rimmer.
Well, that's quite helpful. Okay. One of the things I think that Deputy Reeve, we've been fairly open at what we have here, and what we've provided you is fairly in-depth. Now, don't know, I don't understand where you're coming from when you're saying, well, you don't understand what these numbers mean or where they're coming from. So can you elaborate exactly what you were having problems with so that we can address whatever questions that you have?
Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Sure thing. Thank you, Reeve, and thank you, Your Worship. Wastewater plan, 200,000 in 2025, 2026. What does that actually mean? That's not very conclusive, like that's.
Okay, all right. Yes, okay, well, we can address some of that. As far as the plan with the lagoon and the water treatment plant or the sewage treatment plant is that we're looking at the subsurface irrigation. So some of the costs in there will probably be a study after we get certain approvals.
Okay.
Does that help you at all?
So a study and subsurface irrigation for the wastewater facility.
Correct, and it's unfortunate that Mr. Wright isn't online. And I've got to answer these questions to the best of my ability, but as far as I understand, that is what we're looking at. We're working with Alberta Environment right now to ensure that we're moving ahead on some of the things that we've discussed with them in the past. So the numbers there, I would assume, because it's not that much, 200,000 seems like the standard for a study and maybe a little bit of extra work associated with that.
Subsequent questions or your curiosity
no.
satisfied? Okay. Thank you for the response. I have a few more blinky lights. Go ahead, Councillor Northcott.
All right, just a question for Ms. Haight. Infrastructure assessment study. I know this process is going through the amalgamation process, but if in the future, or if it was to go through a dissolution process, would an infrastructure assessment study be required through either process, like whether it's amalgamation or dissolution?
Yes. Regardless of whether there's a dissolution or amalgamation, an assessment study will be done.
Okay, thanks.
Councillor Cermak?
Yeah, I just want to further with the Deputy Reeves' question. I am questioning the lagoon liner repair and replacement. I believe we just done one at Condor a few years ago, and that bill was in the millions to replace that, because we had to clean it to get in to replace that liner. Is the Condor one quite a bit larger than the one at Caroline, or approximately the same size? Have we got any information on that? Because 60,000, I've done a lot of liners, and just the cost of the liner and installing the liner is about that cost. Is it anybody got any information on the Condor one or not?
Okay.
Can I just interject here as well? And I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
no, another thing to thank you, Reeve. So now you're bringing up changing the liner. Like, I don't understand where you guys are getting this information.
Right on that.
Like we have, what's that?
It's in the agenda item, sir.
It's on the agenda item, it's just, it's
No, the question though, the question that you have, the question that you have is about the liner being changed. There's no liner being changed at the lagoons here. We have a repair of one of the dikes that has to be done, and that's all that, as far as I understand, that's all that has to be done. So So now we're talking about millions of dollars, you're making something more out of something that isn't the case. I believe, anyway, that's more the information I have. We have to fix or the repair a little bit on one of the dikes because of the beavers and muskrats getting in there.
Thank you for the clarification. It does say lagoon liner slash replacement. So I believe Councillor Cermak was asking for clarification on what that item was. So thank you for the clarification.
Well, then, okay,
All right,
all right, thank you.
you bet. Councillor Graham.
My light is on, not for what we're discussing at all, but just, I know that historically for virtual attendees, when they're not muted during discussion, people who are trying to listen virtually to the, like, residents are not able to hear. So if you guys online could just mute yourselves when you're not speaking for the people listening, please. Please and thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Ratcliffe.
Thank you, Reeve. I appreciate my fellow councillors being around this table and their desire to know how much credit card debt is coming into this marriage. But I think all of this work is going to be, after amalgamation, is going to be redone, relooked at, reanalyzed. And this is just for more kind of preliminary information. So I would make the motion that the Amalgamation Committee receives the Public Works 5-year capital plan for Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline as information.
Thank you for the motion, Councillor Ratcliffe. Is there any more discussion on this item before I call the question? Seeing no blinky lights, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Just wait, yep. Thank you, Mayor Rimmer. All right, that motion is carried. Now moving on to item 4.3. It is the solid waste collections and landfills, the operational component of this. And I will welcome to the table, and I believe it goes to either, is it Mr. Howe or Mr. Magnus? Okay. Go ahead.
Good morning, Amalgamation Committee. Yes, we have with myself today, Kurt Magnus, Director of Public Works Operations, and Sean Ho, Project Technologist, Public Works Operations. And I will turn it over to Mr. Ho here, and he will guide us through each of these agenda items.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Ho.
Thank you. Good morning, Amalgamation Committee members. Public Works Operations has 6 items for committee's review today. So the first one is 4.3, solid waste collections and landfills, operational. So to start, I will give an overview of the both county and village's current solid waste collection practices. So for Clearwater County, residents have or can apply to solid waste access cards for use at regional landfill and transfer stations. The solid waste access cards allows disposal of recyclables, residential, and light agricultural waste at both the transfer stations and regional landfill, excluding recyclables, for no additional cost. All other oversized loads and/or commercial loads will still incur fees at the regional landfill, in accordance with current Clearwater County bylaw, solid waste bylaw. This bylaw is attached for committee's review. Clearwater County currently has a Class 2 regional landfill and 10 transfer stations. The regional landfill is open to the public from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Monday to Friday. Next, for the Village of Caroline, currently there are a few options for solid waste collection. The first option is curbside garbage pickup. Residents use this option to dispose most of their non-recyclable materials. And as per the current service level, curbside collection for recyclable materials is not available. E360S is the contractor for this curbside collection service. The agreement is attached. The next option is the public drop-off stations. There are 11 bins located at the Caroline Bottle Depot for recyclable materials such as cardboard, plastics, and others. Clearwater County staff pick up these materials on a weekly basis. As per the attached letter dated February 11th, 2021, Clearwater County staff continues to provide this service through the Caroline Recycle Depot. Third, currently, village residents can complete an application form and purchase access cards for use at the Clearwater County regional landfills or transfer stations. Fourth, Clearwater County staff collects solid waste from 2 bins near the Caroline Arena every 2 weeks. This is a verbal agreement. Next, regarding the closed industrial cells. Clearwater County, the town of Rocky Mountain House, and the village of Caroline entered into the attached closed industrial cells cost sharing and liability agreement as of January 1st, 2021. Clearwater County is the approval holder and is responsible for the management, operation, and maintenance of the closed industrial cells. As per this agreement, the allocation proportion for cell maintenance cost is county 62.5%, town 34.5%, village 3%. And the last part of this agenda item is the EPR program, the Alberta Extended Producer Responsibility Program. So as the committee members may already know, EPR regulation came into force on November 30th, 2022. It shifts the cost of recycling materials such like single-use products, packaging and paper products, hazardous and special products, away from municipalities and everyday Albertans to the producers and manufacturers who supply those products into the marketplace. Producers will be responsible for the cost and implementation of all aspects of the system, including education, collection, processing, and sale of material to end markets. Once the community registers, producers will be entirely responsible for funding and operating the EPR system for that community. Communities must register with Alberta Recycling Management Authority, i.e. ARMA, if they wish to join the EPR system and receive services from the EPR system. So the deadline for phase 1 of the EPR community registration was December 31st, 2023. Clearwater County has registered for the phase 1 of this program. The village of Caroline has not registered for this phase 1 of this program. And as a conclusion for staff's recommendation, that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that the current operational service levels of solid waste collections and landfills of Clearwater County and the village of Caroline remain status quo to ensure uninterrupted service delivery pending completion of a service level review by the new council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments in regards to this solid waste item? Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. Considering the newly formed hamlet would be the only hamlet that does garbage pickup within the newly formed municipality, if this is going forward, what is the actual operational cost to do that? It's $2.75 a household per week, but what does that actually mean in the grand scheme of the operational cost of garbage pickup within the village of Caroline? I was just going through their bylaw, that's how I came up with the $2 and whatever, sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Magnus.
The operational cost would be, again, as per the, whatever the agreement was established with E360. Right now, they have curbside pickup, so I would be just a matter of Sean and I just looking into what the current operational cost that they charge out to Caroline in regards to that pickup service. I can't immediately give you that number, what it is, but we can definitely find that out and relay it back to this committee.
Yes, follow up? Yep.
Thank you, Director Magnus. It was actually more of a question, I know I was looking at you guys, but it was more of a question for the village, because those are numbers that they should have. There'd be no reason for us to have that number. The village should actually have the operational cost of their own waste. So do they know how much it costs to operate the waste for a year?
Go ahead, Mayor Rimmer.
Yes, again, somebody should be online with this, but, because I don't have the information in front of me, but I can tell you that that should have been all disclosed back when your, Public Works and operational people came down and had a meeting with the village a couple of weeks ago, I believe, or 3 weeks ago. I can't give you a number, but all I can say is that that information should have been disclosed at that time. And the question that you're asking is that you have already been told that they will get that information back to you. So, until we can have that, I guess I better start digging into a few other things as well. If I'm having to do all the speaking here, we got other people that are on council that should be able to address that as well if they have the information from them. But at this point, that information will be brought to you since you brought it up, Deputy Reeve, and it will be in front of you at some point.
I have a blanky light here, Mayor Rimmer, from Mr. Howe. Maybe he'll have some information there.
Thank you.
Good.
So I'm not too sure if it helps, but in the contract it says, so totally there's 194 residential homes, and the fee for that is 2.27 per house per week. So if we do the quick math here, we may get an operational cost for that.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Nelson.
I do believe we have 285 residences in Caroline. This number is in our operational budget, which I don't have with me.
That's all right. Any other further questions or discussion on it? Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. When the new municipality and the new interim council is going through all of this stuff, are we bound to this contract, or can it be reevaluated at that time? Like, is there anything in the contract that we cannot redo the service levels, should the new municipality be formed?
Go ahead, Mr.
Sorry. So as per the current curbside garbage collection contract with E360S, so this contract will end on April 30th, 2024. However, it can definitely, at the village sole discretion, it can extend for 2 extensions of 1 year each. But it's totally up to village at this point right now.
Okay. Any other further questions or discussion?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just answer. Sorry to interrupt again, Reeve. I had my hand up, but all I can say is that we extended it 1 year so that we could, so it'll be next year in 2025 when that comes up again for E360. That should have been disclosed. I don't know why. As you can see, that we don't have a whole lot of staff there that are helping us through some of these questions that we're getting, and well, I'm a little annoyed by that. But anyway, that was extended for 1 year.
All right.
So not to worry, that the interim council will be able to determine whether they'll extend it or not at that point. Does that satisfy the question?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Rimmer. Go ahead, Director Magnus.
Thank you, Chairperson Swanson. Upon further research and just some feedback from our team who's in the background there in regards to the question on operational cost on the solid waste side of things, as per their budget that they presented, Caroline presented to us information, they indicate 68,000 was budgeted for garbage, their operational side, if that helps.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Haight.
Yes, if I just may add to Mr. Ho's comments and perhaps add some clarity for Councillor Malhat's question. All current agreements are to be honored under the new municipality until such agreements expire. At that time, then the new council would make decisions as to whether or not they wanted to change service levels, extend or enter into a new agreement, et cetera, et cetera. So to just confirm, all current agreements are in place for both municipalities under the new municipality until such agreements expire.
Thank you for the clarification. All right, I believe there was a motion on the floor? Not yet? Look, would like, please? I'll go ahead, Councillor Nelson.
I make the motion that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that the current operational service levels of solid waste collections and landfills of Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline remain status quo to ensure uninterrupted service delivery pending completion of service level reviews by the new council.
Thank you. If there's any other further discussion on the motion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? I believe that is carried. Thank you. Now moving on to item 4.4, sewage collection and treatment. Go back to Mr. Ho.
Thank you, Reed. So the next item is 4.4 sewage collection and treatment operational. Similarly, I will give a background overview first. So first, for Clearwater County, the current wastewater facility includes first Condo wastewater system. This is a conventional gravity-fed lagoon system facility with lift station and sanitary collection mains. A certified level 1 wastewater operator oversees this facility. Next is a Leslieville wastewater system. It has a lift station, sanitary collection mains, and a septic receiving station for external hauling. A certified level 1 wastewater operator oversees this facility. Third is a Nordic wastewater system. This is a conventional gravity-fed aerated lagoon facility with lift station, sanitary collection mains, and a septic receiving station. A certified level 1 wastewater operator oversees this facility. And the fourth is a Town of Rocky Mountain House wastewater system. So this is a mechanical treatment facility for large-scale septic dumping from regional entities. Clearwater County has entered into partnerships with the Town of Rocky Mountain House to utilize their wastewater facility. The town staff operates this facility. And the last is private holding or septic tanks. Septic from these tanks can be hauled to the septic receiving stations in the aforementioned wastewater treatment facilities. And the registrations of all counties' wastewater facilities and the wastewater capital funding agreement with the Town of Rocky Mountain House are attached. And for the operational maintenance requirement of these facilities, all the county's wastewater treatment systems require daily checks. And all the county's wastewater treatment systems and the effluent discharge meet the current Alberta environment and protected areas regulations. And next, for the Village of Caroline, the village operates and maintains the Caroline Lagoon, including 2 cells with aeration and continuous discharge. A certified level 1 wastewater operator oversees this facility. The registration of the lagoon is attached. And an excerpt is attached from the village's interim budget 2024. Committee members may refer to the actual budget report for more details. And just to give a highlight here, as per the budget report, the critical issue that must be addressed on an ongoing basis is the quality of the treated wastewater that is discharged from the wastewater stabilization pond continuously into the Raven River. So future infrastructure updates of the Caroline Lagoon will be essential for its wastewater discharge to meet AEP's regulations. And to conclude, for staff's recommendation, that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that current operational sewage collection and treatment of Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline remain status quo. However, consideration will need to be given in the near future to upgrading the Caroline wastewater treatment facility so that it will meet current Alberta Environment and Protected Areas regulatory discharge standard requirements. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Your worship, your hand is up. Did you wish to comment? Seeing none, maybe it was from the last motion. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve.
Sorry, I had my mic. Can I interrupt? Sorry.
Absolutely. Nope.
I didn't know that my mic was muted, but I will try to answer the previous question about, our standard for the water going into the Raven River is actually higher than that of the city of Red Deer's dumping all their stuff into their effluent into the Red Deer River. They continue to keep on pushing us with the AEP to raise that bar even further. So presently, our system was at and has been all along, with the increases in different levels of expectations. We've been increasing that. Originally, that sewage system was designed and built for 1,500 people. So now we've got, and I mentioned earlier, some of the things that we were looking at and discussing with the AEP to address some of this effluent levels that are required of us.
Thank you. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve Melhoff.
Thank you, Reeve. In the agenda item, it's showing that March 1st of 2027 is when this is set to expire, and that a potential cost is anywhere from 3.8 to 11.1 million. In going back to the Public Works Capital agenda item where they showed percentage increases that are potentially expected based on the village's budgets, in 2027, I'm not seeing, and maybe I'm just not reading it right, I'm not seeing that cost expressed in the percentages that are being estimated as required for the year 2027 when this Environment and Parks agreement is set to expire.
In the item 4.2, or no, item 4.1 where we were.
Yeah, so Public Works Capital has done the percentage increases that are going to be required based on potential budgetary needs. This agenda item is showing that this facility will no longer meet the extension it was given as of March 1st, 2027, and that cost is predicted to be from $3.8 to $11 million. That's what the agenda item says, but this 5-year capital plan that we went through earlier does not show that anywhere. Now, I'm just curious if the village has planned for that and that's why it's not on here, or if they have not planned for that at all, even though knowing in 3 years the extension from Environment and Parks is set to expire and therefore will need to be upgraded.
Good question. I don't know if Mayor Rimmer has an answer for that or a comment. Go ahead. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, well.
Deputy Mayor Gibson has had her light on first. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
I'm just saying that we're still under general discussion with the AEP for this. We don't know what they're really wanting us to do. They haven't come out and seen exactly where everything is, and they're surmising that this is happening, A is happening when actually B is happening. So it's kind of an issue that we're still trying to deal with. So go ahead, John.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's, as I stated before, we're in discussions and have been in discussions with the AEP I haven't been privy to those meetings at this point, but I know in the past that they were using all sorts of excuses, and then what you saw about the AEP is using excuses that weren't valid, but and we've had some toing and fooling with them concerning our system. Now, that being said, I think that there's a whole new crew now that's at the AEP that we have to discuss things with, and I'm going to have to make sure that I'm there at the meeting, I guess, to make sure that we're addressing some of this. As far as, we haven't budgeted the total amount because I would assume that on your whatever was brought forward in the capital plan, that we have a study that was done by Stan Tech and WSP, I think it is. The 3 million and the 11 million was from the study that was done. The 3 million was for another hole to be dug down by the Raven River, which we don't want to see. The $11 million was for a mechanical sewage treatment plant, which was more than what 500 people should have to put in. So we've been in argument with the AEP. We've come up with some other solutions. This is an ongoing thing that's been going for several years now. And I mentioned some of the things that we have proposed to them, and we're still in discussions with them, and which would be more environmentally friendly, would be not near as expensive, and this is one of the things that we couldn't really discuss at this point because of other pieces of that have to be shared in confidence and not on a public forum.
Thank you for that. Mr. Howe?
Thank you. I'm not too sure if this could clarify some of the questions. However, I think what Deputy Reed refers to is in their interim budget. So every wastewater plant has a registration or approval from AEP. So the current date of approval for Caroline's wastewater treatment plant was on March 6, 2017, and the date of expiry is March 1st, 2027. And I believe, as per the information I gained from Village, they are in the process of upgrading that wastewater treatment facility. And as you may see in the capital budget report, item 4.2, so they are upgrading their lagoon liner repair, and also they have wastewater plant. I assume that will be like infrastructure study or engineering study or designs to upgrade that facility so that they can meet the AEP standards. So that's my best assumption. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Reeve?
Thank you, Reeve. Yes, absolutely, I did, I saw those as well. It's just those 200,000 and 60,000 is a lot different than 3.8 million to 11.1 million. So that's why I'm asking the question, because those are very, very different numbers. So that's why I was digging into it a little deeper. Thank you.
I got blinky lights. Go ahead, Councillor Northcott.
Just a question for Public Works there. Do you have any information or maybe historical information on how the provincial and federal programs that are available to assist in financing these projects? If you had any experience or sort of just some information on how these programs sort of work?
Director Haig, Magnus, sorry.
Yeah, definitely. There are various grant and funding opportunities available, both within the provincial jurisdiction and federally as well. There's the Municipal, Alberta Municipal Water Wastewater Partnership Program, and we have been successful in attaining some grant funding through that program. There's also the federal one, it escapes my mind right now, that is available as well. And we have reached out to them in regards to funding. A perfect example was the Condor Lagoon. When that one was upgraded, we received funding, 75% funding for the upgrades associated with that one through various avenues, as I just mentioned earlier. So yes, long and short of it, committee member Northcott, is that there are definitely opportunities there for funding to assist in these upgrades.
Thank you. Councillor Ratcliffe.
Thank you, Reeve. Has our Public Works or has administration been fully brought into the situation around wastewater in Caroline, that we understand the issues, the problems, the barriers with that system?
Director Magnus.
We are starting to work much more closely with their personnel, knowing that this, obviously, that amalgamation is occurring here. So we have been in discussion with their operator and have been, to a certain degree, brought into the loop in regards to what's occurring there. Short answer, yes, to a certain degree, we are being made aware of the operational and capital requirements associated with that system.
Okay.
Follow-up?
Thank you. I think that's a work in progress, was the answer.
That would be a fair assumption.
Thank you. I wouldn't mind at an appropriate time having an update on subsurface irrigation opportunities there as well. But that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other further questions, comments? Looking for a motion? There's none. Councillor Graham.
I have to scroll up to it. I'll make a motion that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that current operational sewage collection and treatment of Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline remains status quo.
Would we need to add that next portion out, or is that just the intent of the motion? I'm just looking for clarification. As per the staff recommendation, should that be included in the motion, Part B, or is that a separate motion? Go ahead, Ms. Haight.
Yes, and so the motion would continue on that the new council would consider upgrades to the Caroline wastewater treatment facility to meet Alberta Environment Protected Areas regulatory discharge standard requirements.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Graham.
As Ms. Haight said, that would also be part of my motion, please.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. Is there an opportunity, as being a good neighbor, to get started on this sooner rather than later? Like, is there an opportunity for our operations and infrastructure department to start working on this now, rather than waiting a whole nother year, like January 2025, and then we're 2 years out from no longer being with, like, March 1st, 2027 is as long as Alberta Environment has given at this point. That is not enough time, based on what I've seen in the history of how long it takes to do large capital projects. That's not enough time to do a study, a full investigation, an implementation plan, engineering, and building. That's not enough time. So is there an opportunity for us to start earlier?
CEO Emmons?
If I may, extremely convoluted, because today it's not our municipality, so it'd be an overreach. I would suggest that by staff taking the initiative now to be integrated and updated, absolutely, even at an interim level, could kick off. My experience with Alberta Environment effort goes a long way. And the first thing I would suggest would be an immediate funding application, followed by a study to ascertain whether or not a certain design is the most feasible. And that design would dictate whether it's a discharge system, an irrigation system, whatever. But those recommendations would come back to the council of the day and proceed. But I would expect Alberta Environment would look at a one-year extension to facilitate.
Thank you. Yes, follow up.
Sorry, thank you, Reeve. Thank you, Mr. Emmons, because I just don't want to put the new municipality in a place of being non-compliant right out of the gate, and then a liability at that point. So if we can get ahead of some of this, is there even an opportunity for joint advocacy between the village and Clearwater County, like joint letters, joint grants, joint, like starting that process now? Is there any opportunity so that we are not non-compliant?
Go ahead, Mayor Rimmer.
I don't see any reason why some of this can't be done jointly. You know, it's obvious to me that we're having, you know, administrative dysfunction here. So, you know, we have been having ongoing discussions with the AEP. And a lot of this discussion was before we even went into amalgamation discussions and serious discussions. So, yes, I fully agree that we could certainly start working together on this. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you've also, you know, worked with Rocky Mountain House to upgrade their system. So I don't see there being any reason why, because we're going to amalgamate, or we should, you know, we're headed in that direction. There shouldn't be any reason why we can't work together on some of these more important issues to make sure that that we're all addressing everything that needs to be addressed. And that's it's, yeah, I would say let's make a proposal. We go ahead with that idea and have some discussion about it later on between the two different municipalities, public works and administration, to make sure that this is done properly and going ahead.
Well, I can understand that it would maybe create some efficiencies on your end. I'm looking at the workload that's already existing, so I'm going to let CO Emmons direct his time that sees fit. I mean, the priority, yes, or the advancement of what we would like to have with this report and get through this report, and then hand it over to Municipal Affairs. I would caution that we don't necessarily deep dive into this too soon. I think we have other priorities that we have to attend to, but yes, the conversation doesn't end. So with that, and I'm sure administration to administration, they will navigate that. Go ahead, CEO Emmons.
Thank you very much. I was just going to clarify, from council to council, I would be surprised if Clearwater County Council didn't support a letter from the Village of Caroline, because advocacy is a far different perspective to get a funding initiative in the queue and get going. I was taking it from an agreement standpoint. By the time we negotiated an agreement and partnered, the date would come and go, and it would be far easier as one to address an issue under that new municipality than it is under two separate, was the point I was trying to make.
Okay. Go ahead, Director Magnus.
Again, thank you, Mr. Emmons. Just further to Mr. Emmons' comments too, and back to Committee Member Northcott, you had asked about, again, funding, along with Committee Member Malhave. here is I had indicated that obviously there's funding available through both the province and the federal government. And just out of interest sake, the federal government funding program is called the Clean Water and Wastewater Fund. So that's one we would reach out to too. But one thing I do want to make aware to this committee is just to remind everyone here, we are in direct competition with the rest of the Canada and many other municipalities and the issues that they face as well. So there's never a guarantee that we will get any funding. When we do, it's a bonus, just to keep that in mind.
Ms. Hay?
Thank you. Perhaps the committee may wish to negotiate this item and have Clearwater County members and village members decide on what steps should be taken, and then that could be recorded and entered into the report for the minister. If they want to take the opportunity now to maybe negotiate a few items.
Would that be appropriate without the administration from the village not being present? That's my question. Yeah. That would be,
Yes.
go ahead, Mayor Rimmer.
I just wanted to state that one of the reasons that we chose not to move ahead and apply for a lot of the grants that were available at that time was the fact that we had to have the study done. And we got to remember that COVID was all involved in a lot of this and made a lot of confusion. We were looking at when I see something like $13 million and that's going to be covered by grants, that's wonderful. But I don't just normally assume, well, gee, that's free money, because that's taxpayer money as well. And we're not maybe responsible for that taxpayer money until we use it, but it's something that there had to be a better way to skin this cat than to put in a great big, 15, well, it's probably more like 18 or $20 million now to put mechanical system in. So we were looking at some other, with encouragement from the, I think it was the NRC and AEP, with this subsurface irrigation, which would have been a lot cheaper and a lot more feasible. But I would also like to state that, the southern part of the county doesn't have the only real sewage system treatment is right in the village of Caroline. So that's something else that needs to be considered, and that's another good reason why we would gladly discuss things going forward with the county.
All right. I see that CEO Wright has joined us now on live stream. So thank you for the explanation, Mayor Rimmer. I don't know if CEO Wright has heard the discussion up until now, if you wish to offer comments, or just at this point in time, just observe. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve Melhoff.
Thank you, Reeve. Director Magnus, you said it's never a guarantee for any funding. Does that often mean that sometimes you need to apply multiple times? So if you applied this year, and you can apply next year, and maybe the third year you'll get it. Like that way you're constantly saying this is a priority, this needs to happen, and we need funding to do it. Just because you didn't get it the first time, maybe we can apply again. So maybe getting a jump start on this and getting to apply more than once might be valuable.
Go ahead, Director Magnus.
Typically, if they refuse you the first time, that's it. They refused you because, again, you're in competition with hundreds of other municipalities. If it's a federally funded program, you're in competition with every other municipality across Canada. Typically what they look at is they look at worst case scenario of the municipalities themselves. So if there's some real issues, whether it be water or wastewater, They look at where that municipality is in regards to the safety of all of their ratepayers, and that's how they look at it. It never hurts to continue to apply, and to use an example here, the Leslieville one here, we're still, I believe, an application has been put in to see if we can get some additional funding for that as well. Again, just to summarize, typically if they say no the first time, you're probably not going to have a chance the second or third time.
Thank you. Councillor Ratcliffe?
Thank you, Reeve Swanson. Wastewater is one of the biggest unknowns and therefore the biggest concerns in this amalgamation. I appreciate the offer of the village through his worship to collaborate with the county in trying to close the gap on that risk. And we leave that up to the administration of both the county and the village to work out how that will proceed.
I guess I look across to CEO Emmons and to try and understand that through this process, as you've identified, this is 2 municipalities still at this point in time. And that with the budget that we've already, both councils have approved going forward, that this, to do this extra work, because this would be extra work above and beyond what has already been approved for in our budgets. What kind of a capacity do we have in order to do this grant application or to do further investigation? Is this, to me, this is a whole other project that these 2 councils are putting on administration to be able to do this year, where, again, as it is intended, this should be up to maybe the new interim council in 2025. But just looking for a perspective on the time allotment, what this might entail. Go ahead.
I will have to defer a little bit to CO Wright, because what I've heard is Caroline is discussing with the authoritative agency, Alberta Environment, an exact design perhaps they have in mind. And that's been the debate. My assumption in that comment, if that understanding is correct, is without a design, there has been no application for funding because that discussion is the holdup.
Right.
So as it's the Village of Caroline's authority today, it's extremely difficult to move forward with any other future initiatives until that is settled. If a new municipality came in, I will say on my history, we would engage an engineer. Our engineers would go through the options presented, discuss what's the most viable, what makes the most sense, what's the most economic, and bring it forward to the council of the day for approval and proceed. That would be our process.
Okay.
So today, respectfully, I would suggest it's in the Village of Caroline's hands. If they were amiable to such a process as I described, Clearwater County Council could say, you know what, maybe we support the engineering to expedite, maybe there would be other options. But I hear it's a debate over design. There would be no funding application without what you're applying for.
Thank you for that. And I tend to agree. If this conversation has been with AEP or AP or whatever, NRC, that to me is where CO Wright and Mayor Rimmer can continue that design discussion or whatever they are in that, wherever they are in that process, and then can bring forward that information as it comes forward. All right, it's been suggested that we could further discuss this agenda item, or sorry, discuss this issue, or we can just pass the motion that has been, sorry, we can pass a motion as per the staff recommendation that Councillor Graham has already made. So just looking if there's any more discussion on this item. Seeing no hands, seeing no lights. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Yep, then that motion is passed. Those opposed? Sorry, thank you. I was looking at the light. One opposed, sorry. All right.
Is John opposed then? His hands up.
He didn't take it down.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, so if there's no other, moving on into the, oh, sorry, go ahead, Deputy Mayor, or Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. I would like to make a follow-up motion that the Amalgamation Committee recommend to respective councils to have the ICC meet and discuss options for advocacy and viability for the wastewater compliance within the Village of Caroline to ensure that the newly formed municipality has a jump start on this critical piece of infrastructure.
All right, any, that's a long motion. That's okay. Would you, yeah, repeat it one more time, please? Thank you.
No problem. I'll just summarize, Reeve. That the ICCs can meet and discuss options, whether that's advocacy, working on the site itself, to just ensure that we have a jump start on this, and the ICCs between, I believe it's Councillor Northcott and Councillor Cermak, and Deputy Mayor Gibson and his worship, they can work towards what would be the best solutions moving forward. The ICC, I think, is a very great place for that to be taken. That's what that tool is for. And if the ICC comes back with, nope, we're going to wait till amalgamation, then so be it. But at least then they can have that conversation and they can determine whether it's advocacy to the provincial government or engineering or whatever needs to be done so that we can try to have a jump start on that very critical piece of infrastructure for the southern portion of the municipality.
Thank you. Yes. I see some hands up online, so I'll go to CEO Wright, then I'll go to His Worship. Go ahead, Mr. Wright.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Just a little background and backup, further information on AEP and the work they're doing behind the scenes with us on the wastewater treatment. And we're meeting on May 9th with a follow-up. The team at AEP has totally changed in the last 60 days. And I did a short, quick note to CEO Rick to make him aware of that. In any case, we've applied for LGFF funding for land and LGFF funding for an upgraded existing facility, berms, and we're meeting with AEP on May 9th. And things are progressing. We're a little disappointed to hear that Michael Anton retired in the past 2 weeks, okay? But as far as we're aware, we're moving forward with our funding for the LGFF, and things are happening. We just finished a major upgrade on the facility itself. Thank you.
Okay, Deputy Reeve, and then I'll go to Councillor Northcott.
Thank you, Reeve. CEO Wright, maybe I'm confused, but I thought that LGFF was an assigned formula. You don't apply for LGFF funding. I thought that they assign it to you, like MSI. You don't apply for that funding. They just assign that funding to you based on a formula. Unless I misunderstood, I thought it was very similar to MSI. You don't apply for it. That is your provincial funding.
No, you apply based on a capital project basis. Yes, there is an overall funding level, but we will put in our detail sheets based on our capital budgets for LGFF funding per project, because they do carry over for 1, 2, or 3 years, and we can just work within that process, okay? And our documentation's already in place. Okay.
Can I look to my administration for some feedback on that? Because that's not the way that LGFF has been described to me. Is there different between the way that urban municipalities receive their LGFF funding and the way that rural municipalities have been receiving their LGFF funding? Because it's my understanding that it is a formula, a base rate, that the provincial government has come up with. Yes, there's a percentage change over the next 3 years, but it's not based on capital, on the needs of your community, is my understanding. And you don't apply for it. It literally is, you are an existing municipality, this is your LGFF, formerly known as MSI, unless I'm wrong.
Okay, Mr. Hu?
Yeah, I think MSI, like funding has been all converted to LGFF since this year. So it's kind of a new system for everyone right now. However, but I'm not 100% sure, but I think you still have to apply for that funding.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Emmons. Oh.
So I actually believe that Deputy Reeve Melhalf is correct, but adding in CEO Wright's comments, there's the opportunity, if you don't maximize, LGFF allows you to hit that cap and carry over for larger capitals, for Clearwater County has no problem maximizing, so it's never an issue.
Okay, thank you.
But it is based on a formula.
Okay. Councillor Northcott.
Question for administration, for process, if committee members were to make additional motions that were not added to the agenda, and notice of motion policy, how does that work? Are we allowed to, for process, can you just add motions here or there, even though they're not added?
It's like, go ahead, CEO.
So absolutely, and thank you for the question, Councillor Northcott. So it's always the purview, staff will have a recommendation. It is always the purview of taking that recommendation or not, coming up with a brand new one. If the motion is related to the agenda at hand, not considered a notice. If you are adding new subject matter or want new subject matter, then that other process comes in, if that helps clarify.
Okay. Councillor Cermak. Oh, sorry, Councillor Graham. And then I'll go to Councillor Cermak. Sorry.
All right, I was gonna comment to the motion. I certainly appreciate where Deputy Reeve Melhalf is coming from and the kindness behind the motion and the reasoning behind it. From my perspective, I worry that it would be viewed as us strong-arming the Village of Caroline, and they still have the ability, when they figure out what they want to do, they can come to us so that we can advocate for them, write them letters of support, or if they were to need some funding, they could present that to us at that time. So I will not be supporting your motion, although I do very much appreciate where it's coming from for those reasons.
Thank you. Councillor Cermak.
I'm confused. I have been looking at, in all this information, on page 110, there are 7 items listed. There's said that there has been an MSI capital grant that funded those 7 things, and one of them is Lagoon, and it says which has already been received. So is that being received by Caroline to look into these? There should have been a report on all of these 7 things that are listed on page 110. It's in the middle paragraph, bottom of it. It says this work will be funded through an MSI capital grant, which has already been received. So, where is the report that this fund paid for?
Okay, we're all going to that page. Okay. I don't,
And the lagoon is listed twice.
see that through the years there too. I'm sorry, I'm not on the rest, so I can't see if there's any other hands up. Sorry, Alana. There's none up yet? Okay, thank you. Good question. Kind of ties all into the same conversation. Okay, go ahead, CEO Wright.
Yep. In the past, we've included that in the project work for the lagoon. We just had a new one we applied for in 2023, which involved repairs and upgrading of the facility itself for pumps, aeration units, replacement of panels and electrical to occur. That was the latest one we've done, and we just finished that in the last 3 weeks. The past projects, as far as I'm aware, were consolidated and completed sometime ago in 2014. Is listed 2021. Yeah, the guys upgraded that. Those are completed projects and off of our books actually right now. Okay. The new work that we did in this past year was predominantly within the aeration building and facility because we took a major electrical hit, and it is not listed on this yet for 2023 and 2024. In any case, we just finished that project in the last 2 weeks. Okay? If there's additional information that we need to come from historical files, then that we can provide that. Thank you.
Does that offer clarification, Councillor Cermak?
Sort of. Because then if he's done this upgrade, that should have been forwarded to the AEP so that they would know what kind of continuous discharge we are putting into the Raven River. Is that where that report would have went? Larry?
Go ahead, Mr. Wright.
We're meeting with AEP on, as I said, May 9th. We're anticipating a letter for all wastewater treatment facilities here in Alberta due to the lack of rainfall in the river systems and that. And that's part of the discussion on May 9th. The province has had no problem with our discharge. In the past 2 years that I'm aware of, they have raised a concern about drought conditions, which we responded to as part of our discussion over the last month, and that's part of our meeting on May 9th. Okay? We're more than happy to invite an observer in from the county to join us and our technical representatives from our consultants. Okay? But there's a new group present at AEP in Red Deer. Okay? And that's where we're at right now. Okay?
Thank you.
But as far as we're aware, our license has been met.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm sure that Reeve will send somebody.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Haight. Go ahead.
So if I may just expand on what I had mentioned earlier about perhaps the committee may wish to negotiate some terms and conditions for this particular item to go into the report for the minister. So for example, it could say in that report, providing that the committee negotiates this out, that that it requests that the minister perhaps contact AEP. Perhaps the minister can encourage AEP to respond to or to follow up, because like from what I understand, AEP is the holdup. There's no decision that can be made at this point because the village is waiting for AEP's response. Perhaps the committee could use this as a terms and conditions and have it state in the report that the minister reach out to AEP and see if there's anything that the minister can do to encourage AEP to move along.
Thank you. And I would also say that, as CEO Wright has just mentioned, they do have an upcoming meeting in the next couple weeks, which at the end of the day, this could interfere, I'm not sure, with that particular meeting. So we don't want to derail any positive And we want, yes, I think at this committee level, we want to encourage all the positives that can come out of that meeting, so totally understand where that's going. Councillor Ratcliffe, and then I'll go to Councillor Gray.
Thank you, Reeve.
And then I'll go to CEO Wright online. Just you're third in line, CEO Wright, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you again. As this conversation progresses, I see more the need for clarity around this issue. And so I believe we should accept the offers from Mayor Rimmer of the village and CEO Wright to collaborate on this, get all the information out, including a process that Ms. Haight suggested. And so I will be supporting this motion as a way to achieve that.
Okay, so the motion is still on the floor in regards to that Deputy Melhoff had said in regards to collaboration at ICC level. Go ahead, Councillor Graham.
This might be a silly question. Can we, in our letter, request that the minister bumps up the new municipality for grants and things like that for wastewater? Or it probably wouldn't mean anything, but if we were to provide a good case for why it would be beneficial and how great our municipalities are for working together so well, and is that a recommendation we can put in there or no?
Go ahead, Ms. Haight.
I don't see why not.
Okay.
Whether it will be considered, that would be up to the minister, but I don't see why not. So it's worth a try.
Okay.
Go ahead, CEO Wright.
Yeah, I believe that Councillor Cermak's key question was about continuous discharge into the Raven River, and that is part of our discussion on May 9th, given the current climate conditions, okay? We met and we have probably exceeded all our tests and protocols that we're currently licensed under with the Alberta Environment. But that is one of the issues that is a topic for May 9th, and they're bringing in some of their specialists to discuss it with us. They didn't seem to feel that we had a major concern given the current flow of the Raven River. They said other areas, particularly southern Alberta, is encountering severe difficulties with stream flow and release points, okay? That's just information for you, and we're more than happy to follow up after we get through May 9th. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Deputy Reeve Melhoff.
Thank you, Reeve. I think that is a fabulous idea, Ms. Haight, and Councillor Graham. So when we're done with this one, do you need a motion to that effect, to have that added to the report? That the Municipal Affairs works with AEP to come up with solutions to not burden the newly formed municipality with a potentially non-compliant infrastructure. Okay, I will make that motion when we're done this one.
After. All right, so the motion on the floor is for, go ahead, Councillor Nelson.
I would just like to say I'm not supporting you on that, Councillor Melhoff, because I think we are tasked with making the decision, and once we start making committees and splintering off, it sometimes isn't a group consensus. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve, and thank you, Councillor Nelson. My only concern was that that's the only committee mechanism we actually have while we're still separate entities to actually achieve, to move forward with. That's the only committee that's actually in place. The ICC committee is the only one that's in place to actually do that work. That's why I suggested that this committee recommend that the ICC move forward with that, because it's the only mechanism that we have to work as separate entities still. So that's why I suggested ICC.
Great segue into the motion that is on the floor. And that is your motion in regards to having the ICC committee, recommendation from this committee to the ICC to negotiate or to discuss further options. Go ahead, Councillor Northcott. Yep.
both motions, you have another motion coming forward after this one?
Yeah.
They both sort of seem the same, except the second one would be just this committee proceeding, so I don't think I'll be supporting motion I as well.
Okay, go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
The first motion is very action-based, like let's get moving now. The next one is simply putting it in the hands of the minister, and whatever they happen to come up with and decide. I think both are extremely relevant. The first one being it gets moving now with how important that infrastructure is within the southern portion of the county and obviously for the village in particular. And the next one being for the actual report itself.
It's been a few minutes. Does this council understand the question, understand the motion on the floor? Do we need it repeated? No? I'm just looking at the nods and whatnot. So, all right, so I will call the question. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion is defeated. So with that, I'm looking across for process because we have changed the hand counts. So the motion is defeated.
Yeah.
And so therefore, a defeated motion will still be recorded in the report, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. Follow-up motion, that the Amalgamation Committee recommends to add to the report that the Municipal Affairs Minister works with Alberta Environment and Parks to come up with solutions to not burden the newly formed municipality with a potentially non-compliant infrastructure.
Any discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Councillor Ratcliffe.
Probably the solution and the only option would be an extension of the current operating license. Is that correct?
I believe so. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve. Or, go ahead, CO Emmons.
That would be my conclusion, Councillor Ratcliffe, is working, the new municipality working with the authoritative agency. Every governing body looks for effort. If you're not ignoring a problem, they work with you. So it'd be a matter of asking for the extension. In that request would be a plan of going forward and proceeding on that plan.
Follow up?
Yes. So a request from the minister to that department would carry some weight as well in getting that extension.
CO Emmons?
I see any advocacy as beneficial.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Northcott?
Just for the wording of solutions in your motion, my thoughts are really to highlight the importance of the grant funding to upgrade the infrastructure, like the lagoon. Like if we could specifically highlight the importance of the grant funding for financial assistance to be able to upgrade that lagoon in the future, rather than just the open statement of solutions that it could be so open-ended. Yes.
Okay, Councillor or Deputy Reeve Melhoff?
Thank you, Reeve, and thank you, Councillor Northcott, because I left solutions so that it can be any multitude of things. Grant funding, extensions, both. They come in and rebuild it themselves. Like there's multiple, that's why I said, like, I left it vague intentionally, but there'd be no reason we couldn't tighten that up if you felt that it needed to be tightened up.
Yep, Councillor Northcott?
Yeah, no, just to give it a little bit more meaning if it was specified, specifically on towards the grant funding was my thoughts. Solutions, it's so open-ended, I think it might have a little bit more strength if it was specifically stated the high level of importance to the newly formed municipality would really quite depend on that grant or assistance in financially upgrading that lagoon.
I agree. The only concern that I have is we don't know what that funding, what that means. So is that simply to help with funding of the $200,000 projected aeration system, or is that to build a whole new $18 million mechanical system? We actually don't know what that looks like yet. So to say we need funding, but I worry that they'll say funding for what? So leaving it vague like solutions, I thought would help that way, just because we don't actually know what we're asked, what the solution is.
Councillor Northcott?
Well, it could even actually be a little bit more specific, because they're, you know, after, there would be an infrastructure assessment study required. So it could be even more specific to grant funding and financial assistance. Once the infrastructure assessment study was complete and we know what those costs are, then we could really, you know, get more specific onto the dollars and cents of what would be needed to get things in compliance and stay in compliance.
But that happens after, not now.
Yeah, that is an opportunity. I don't know, my thoughts, just my thoughts are to be more specific. I'll just leave it at that.
No, I agree. I'm just trying to figure out what the specific needs to be.
Councillor Graham?
I will happily make a motion after this motion to prioritize the new municipality for grant funding. I don't know if it'll mean anything to the minister, but we can try it out. Hopefully it won't offend them, but.
There you go.
I don't know.
All right, motion on the floor to encourage, I'll get you to repeat that because you've said it once, we'll do it again.
No worries. That the Amalgamation Committee recommends to add to the report that Municipal Affairs and Alberta Environment Parks work together to come up with solutions to not burden the newly formed municipality with potentially non-compliant infrastructure.
Okay. So this is to go into the report, which comes before the infrastructure study is completed, because the infrastructure study is for 2025. So basically, you've created an umbrella to help, the way I understand that motion is to help municipal, or to encourage Mr. MacGyver or Municipal Affairs to encourage all solutions to come at the table, which I would assume is grant funding, but as Councillor Graham says, that could be a follow-up motion.
Now, can we also ask them to fund an infrastructure study to be done in the village? Like, can we do something like that so that it's actually them funding an infrastructure study to be done? So we have an understanding.
Ms. Hay?
Yes, funding is available for infrastructure studies. That's that's the next phase in the transition period. So there are grants available under the restructuring study stream. And the new municipality would just have to apply.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. All right, Councillor Northcott?
Just one thought, probably the more motions that are made, I don't know if they get weakened by the amount. It's like maybe quality over quantity sometimes. But how would the government or the minister, how are they going to come up with solutions to assist in anything prior to the completion of an infrastructure assessment study? You don't know what you're fixing until you have that report, so how can you come up with solutions prior to that assessment study being completed? I just want to throw that out there, just think about it, like quality of motions, maybe over the quantity of motions, but.
I think would you allow me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think where Deputy Melhoff was going is the fact that because we are not officially amalgamated at this point in time, is that to allow the individual municipalities, independent administration to cooperate, or, to work with Municipal Affairs and work with to investigate the solutions beforehand, so that way we have a leg up. It's a kind of being proactive in this process versus reactive. That's the way that's the way I've interpreted Deputy Melhoff's motion in this solution process. Understanding sometimes vagueness can not necessarily herd people down a certain path. We don't know what the forks of the road are. That's the way I've way it's been presented to us at this point in time. Please add on, Deputy Reeve.
Yes, thank you, Reeve. To be fair, he's also asking us to make a decision on a newly formed municipality without that information too. So we're being asked to vote on whether we're gonna enter into a marriage without that information as well. So he's also put us in that exact same situation by saying that the infrastructure study comes after we make a decision of whether we're gonna be partners or not. So he's also put us in this situation because we can't do an infrastructure study until after we're already a newly formed municipality. I don't think divorce is an option in this marriage either. So he's doing the same thing to us.
All right, so the motion is in regards to advocacy, asking the Municipal Affairs to do some advocacy for us in this AP with the village going forward. All right. Any more lights? I don't see any lights on or hands up online. Go ahead, Councillor Northcott.
Just one more repeat on that, just so I can get that
You bet.
motion really clear in my mind.
Deputy Reeve Melhoff, could you please repeat your motion?
That the Amalgamation Committee recommends to add to the report the Municipal Affairs and Environment and Parks Ministries, or those ministers, work together to come up with solutions to not burden the newly formed municipality with potentially non-compliant infrastructure.
Okay, all right. So with that motion on the floor, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? No, I don't see any opposed. That motion carries. So with that, we're going to take a quick 15-minute break. and welcome back from our break for the Amalgamation Council's Committee of a Whole. We have just, we just finished a motion in regards to a sewage collection and treatment, but we have another motion that is being proposed. Go ahead, Councillor Graham.
I would like to make a motion that the committee recommends to the minister to prioritize the new municipality for grants to bring the wastewater system in the hamlet of Caroline into compliance. Does that need wordsmithing?
Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. Do we want to limit ourselves to grants that only are reflective of the wastewater system?
To what context?
Or make subsequent ones when we get there? I just was asking.
I'm very open to amendments.
Like, did we want to just say for
Grant opportunities?
infrastructure grant opportunities, like, rather than just wastewater, so that we're not limiting? Or do we want to be very specific and that we know that this is a problem? And I just open to the discussion.
Yes. Go ahead, Councillor Graham.
I reached for my button and then didn't hit it. Sorry, I tricked
That's
you.
okay.
I'm open to it. If we're more specific, maybe he's more likely to take it seriously. I don't know if he'll take this seriously at all, but if everyone wants to change it, I am very happy and willing to. I would love it if he gave us all the grants. Many grants for us. I don't know.
All right. So the motion on the floor is I'll get you to repeat it one more time because it was very succinct, but just sometimes hearing it twice helps.
All
Please,
right.
go ahead.
That the committee recommends to the minister to prioritize the new municipality for grants to bring the wastewater system in the hamlet of Caroline into compliance.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Northcott.
Current status of the lagoon, is it out of compliance currently right now? So then it doesn't have to.
No.
So I just wonder if that motion needs to be addressed for future upgrades to the lagoon or modernizing it or whatever wording would need to be corrected, just because if it's not out of compliance right now, I don't think that should be stated in there.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Graham. Did you take that as a friendly amendment?
Yeah, I like to modernize the wastewater system in the village of Caroline. That's a great friendly amendment, Councillor Northcott.
There you go. Okay, I actually had Mayor Rimmer.
Yeah, I just wanted to reply, thank you, Reeve, to Deputy Reeve Melhoff is that, I don't think that, it's like the rest of the council has been saying, is that it won't cause us not to have any chance of any other grants. It's just, if it's worded properly, like Councillor Northcott had suggested, we just go ahead and say that this is one of the issues that we need to deal with. So.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Nelson.
Agree with Councillors Graham's wording. If you're going to make an ask, make a big ask, and that will be the big ask. They know there's a lot of other things involved, but this is what we're all looking at, and this is what's going to be the focus of what needs to be done, a priority. So I do like it being specific.
Very good. So, would you like to repeat that motion with the new wording, friendly amendment wording, please? Councillor Graham?
Yes, I would love to. That the committee recommends to the minister to prioritize the new municipality for grants to modernize the wastewater system in the hamlet of Caroline.
Perfect. Any more discussion on that motion? All right. Seeing no lights or hands, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that motion's carried. All right. Now moving on to item 4.5. Oh, sorry. One more, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. The mayor and the CAO for the village have graciously offered for Clearwater County to be an observer at their May 9th meeting with AEP. Typically, to give our administration an action, we need to have a motion that follows that. So I would make the motion that we accept the offer of the CAO and the mayor of the Village of Caroline to be an observer at their May 9th meeting with AEP, that Clearwater County accepts that.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Ratcliffe.
I had a different issue.
A different issue? Okay, I can wait.
I will certainly support this motion.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mayor Rimmer.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Reeve. Just to further note, I've had my hand up so long that my blood's ran out of my hand. I've lost it now. What the heck was it? Oh, I just need to clarify because my connection failed. Concerning the ICC, was there a motion done and defeated or approved?
Yeah, that motion was made and that motion was defeated.
Okay. Sorry, that's what I was my vote would add or subtract from that at all?
We just noted that you were absent for that small period of time.
Yes, but would my vote have changed it at all?
No,
Okay. That's all I need to know. Sorry to interrupt.
that's just fine. Okay, so the motion on the floor is to accept the invitation from the Village of Caroline for county administration to be observer at the May 9th meeting with AEP. All right, any comments to the question? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Gibson.
Is there not an amalgamation meeting done that same day? That's what I have.
16th of May.
16th of May.
Yes.
Terribly sorry.
I believe, no,
I've got it May 9th.
or May 24th. Yes, we're at the end. Sorry, next amalgamation meeting is May 24th.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. I'll call the question. All those, Councillor Northcott.
Just a question for administration. Does administration need that motion to be able to attend that and to be an observer at that meeting on May 9th? And then it's just it's just administration, like who would attend? Just curious.
Go ahead, C.O. Evans.
So by motion, then it directs administration. Otherwise, it would be reliant on the Village of Caroline's invitation and our priorities and settings. I would suggest that if we were extended an invitation, we would attend. This is important to administration and, of course, governance. But this just ensures you guys are telling us it's a priority.
And do we want to include then who would be attending? Or
I think it's been identified that it's with administration. I'm not
do
sure.
we have to
Go ahead.
identify an individual from administration that's going to attend?
I can't hear.
Do we have to identify an individual from administration on who is going to attend?
I would suggest not. But if you guys feel differently, that could be in the direction as well. But myself, I would honestly leave it to the Director of Ops, and he would probably want to bring along an individual as well. I'd think probably Sean, but.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Haight.
And just to add to that, in the committee bylaw and charter, definition of administration is Clearwater and Village CAOs and or designated staff.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor. There's no further questions or comments. I will call the question. All those in favor? That motion is carried. Now moving on to item 4.5. Oh, sorry, one more. Go ahead, Neil, sorry. Go ahead, Councillor Ratcliffe.
Thank you, Reeve Swanson. The defeat of the earlier motion, for me, still leaves a big question. That the ratepayers, and of course, we at this table are most concerned with potential infrastructure debt. And as I said before, there is a lack of clarity here within the information of where we stand and how we can get facts to deal with. And so that would be my question for administration is what mechanism, what can we put in place to advance the clarity around the lagoon, options, the current situation. As I fear this lack of clarity has a great potential to derail the amalgamation.
Go ahead, Mayor Rimmer. You're on mute. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't put my hand down, but I will just, I guess, respond to that since my hand was up. Is that from my understanding, we've been as transparent as possible, except when it came down to a certain information that would have to be held in closed session to be able to discuss, some of the things that we're moving ahead with, and we've discussed with the AEP and the NRC. That would be my only statement. And as far as any other clarity, I'm not sure, Councillor Ratcliffe, is there any other information that you're lacking, or is your administration has got so much detail that they're just providing you with some of the information that they feel is pertinent, or we need to clear this up. Obviously, if it's a concern for you and some of the others, is that maybe they have to be more specific in what they're requiring from us.
Go ahead, Councillor Ratcliffe.
It is administration's role to see that information is available and presented to this committee.
Well, I'm not saying that they didn't. I'm just saying, they're supplying you with the information that was given to them, and because of the vast amount of information, maybe, and I'm just speculating here, is that maybe some of the questions that you come up should have been discussed with administration first. And if there was some lack of disclosure, then that could have been brought forth and we could have discussed it at that time.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Tate.
I do believe that Councillor Ratcliffe's questions for more information will be answered after administration meets with AEP on May 9th. At this time, both the village and county are missing AEP details. And I think with having that both administrations at that meeting, I think that could answer a lot of questions. And perhaps after that meeting, an update can be provided to the committee at the next amalgamation committee meeting.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Ratcliffe.
I would hope that would be the case. I wanted to, take advantage of the offers from the village CAO and the mayor to, fully collaborate with Clearwater County on moving this ahead. I had another point and it's gone.
Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. Your worship, I just want to make sure that that you are aware, we do not have pre-workshop meetings regarding this. Any information that this council is receiving, you're receiving it at the exact same time. So it's not that our administration has met with us ahead of time and now we have this, we get the exact same information that you get live streamed at the exact same time. It's not, we are not privy to stuff ahead of time. You're getting the same stuff we have. And I also wanted to note that if you feel that there's information that you need to share with us, you have an opportunity to make a motion to go in camera and share that with us, and not have it be a secret that you're saying that you could only share in camera. You have the ability to do that. I obviously can't do that on your behalf because I don't know what you have to share. So if you wanted to share information with us, you have at any point the ability to do that.
Okay, can I respond? Can I respond since it was directed at me?
Absolutely, you can respond. You have your hand up.
Okay. I know, and it's getting sore. Yes, I realize that, what I can do and what I can't do. In particular, it seems to be a bit confusing. You have some information that you need to know, and it was, in this particular case, yes, and I suggested before we go into closed session to discuss it. I didn't move that we go into it at this particular point in time, because we had lots of other things to go through. So I would suggest that, yes, we'll go into closed session. We can disclose some of that information. But I was also under the impression that there was other information that, like you had, several of your council has asked questions, and I'm not sure if we're supplying everything that you need. And if that is the case, then can those be jotted down, supplied to us so that we can ensure that we have full disclosure, you get the information that's needed, rather than us trying to bumble our way, especially me, bumble our way through and trying to answer all of the different questions.
Thank you for that. Councillor Graham?
Thank you, Mayor Rimmer, for the comments that you just made, that we can make notes, and instead of accusing our administration of withholding information from us. I certainly don't appreciate those types of accusations being thrown around. I personally, from my perspective, it's more the process of the amalgamation that's the problem, because we want those infrastructure studies before to make an educated decision, but the way that the amalgamation process is set up, we can't have those after. I don't think that it's anyone accusing information not being provided or anything. I think it's the process, for me at least it is. So I just wanted to put that out there, that it's those studies that we do not have, that do not exist, that will not be done until further in the process, in my opinion.
Thank you for that. Did you?
Can you, yes, I do want to respond. I did not accuse your administration of withholding information. All I stated was that there's so much information and they're not going to know exactly everything that you want to know. So it would be good to understand exactly what information that's not being supplied. And I was just speculating whether that might be the problem. I think you have a fantastic administration. So don't take offense at everything that I'm saying and taking it the wrong way. That was not intended to insult your administration. I would not do that. I just, so I kind of take offense at the fact that you think that I'm being offensive to your administration.
Councillor Graham?
Fortunately, this is recorded and live streamed, so you can go back and look at the words that you said. I am absolutely offended when you accuse our administration of withholding information, because those were the words that you used, Mayor Rimmer. And if you're offended by, I have the floor, Mayor Rimmer. If you are offended by me standing up for my administration when you are attacking them, I don't know what to say. They have been very transparent. They have been very forthcoming in this process. I believe they've been great working with the village, and to say things like that about them is extremely unfair and unacceptable.
Well, you can go back and look on it as well, because I don't think that I did, other than I just said that there was so much information that maybe they were only supplying you with the most important information. But I don't know. Maybe you want to take the worst possible scenario, fine.
All right. Point of order, we're going to get back to the topic at hand. Information was requested. Councillor Ratcliffe, did you have anything further to your, were you satisfied with the response? And if not, do you have anything further?
I do.
Okay.
Thank you. Would it be useful for administration to have a motion to prepare a list of the additional information they would like to see now that we have a commitment from the village to be providing that?
I do believe the motion that Councillor Melhoff had made earlier kind of would have included that information. It'd be working collaboratively. So, I mean, go ahead, Ms. Haight.
I believe that the last motion covers the governance part.
Right.
And now administration has sufficient direction from the committee, and administration will definitely look into the administrative details, and they will definitely have a list of items that they need to go through. So I believe the governance part has been handled, and now the next step is for administration to carry through with the task and work.
And you don't need a motion for that?
No.
Okay,
No.
then. I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. All right, item 4.4 is done with discussion. We'll move on to 4.5. Water treatment and distribution, please. Go ahead, Mr.
Thank
Hill.
you, Ree. So for item 4.5, water treatment and distribution. For Clearwater County, the only water treatment and distribution facility is in the hamlet of Nordic. Nordic's water system consists of a water treatment plant, 2 water storage reservoirs, and 3 active water wells. Water is pumped from the wells, filtered and treated in the water treatment plant, stored in the reservoirs, and then distributed through water mains to the residents of Nordic South and to a bulk water distribution center for the rest of the residents. Reservoir 1 has a water capacity of 474 cubic meters, and Reservoir 2 has a capacity of 1,272 cubic meters. Anticipating growth associated with future development plans, the water treatment facility was built to accommodate a population increase to 573 residents. The system meets all current provincial regulations. The water treatment system requires daily checks and maintenance. A level 1 water treatment and distribution operator looks after this facility. The registration of this water plant is attached. And for the village of Caroline, the village operates and maintains the water treatment plant and pump station, including 2 reservoirs and 2 active water wells. This is a level 1 water plant, and a level 1 water treatment distribution operator looks after this facility. This plant is attached to approximately 289 water meters and provides water to approximately 512 people in the village. The registration of this plant is attached. To conclude, for staff's recommendation is that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that current water treatment and distribution operational of Clearwater County and the village of Caroline remain status quo to ensure uninterrupted service delivery, pending completion of a service level review by the new council. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any discussion in this item? Comments, questions? I believe it's straightforward. Just a clarification, when we say 573 residents, do we mean homes or are we meaning people? Because you've identified people in the village of Caroline and then you've identified residents in the Clearwater County. So we're meaning the same, the same, it's in your background.
Oh, I think for the village, it's 512 people.
Yeah.
Or residents.
Or
It's not
residents.
home.
Okay, thank you. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that our wording was the same, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. See no hands up online or no lights on here. If someone would like to make the motion, go ahead, Councillor Nelson.
I move that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that current water treatment and distribution operational of Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline remains status quo to ensure uninterrupted service delivery pending completion of a service level review by the new council.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That motion is carried. Now moving on to item 4.6, fleet and equipment. Go ahead, Mr. Ho.
Thank you, Reed. So both the county and the village own a variety of vehicles and equipment to support different programs and meet service levels. Administration has conducted an overview of the current fleet and equipment inventory. For Clearwater County, the county's fleet and equipment is managed through the Fleet and Equipment Replacement and Maintenance Policy and the Fleet and Equipment Management Plan. The policy is attached, however, the management plan is not attached. This is because it's a very long document. However, it can be found on the Clearwater County's public website, and the link is provided in the agenda item. And these two documents ensure the best management practices to Clearwater County's fleet and equipment. And county's current fleet and equipment list is also attached. For the village's tangible capital asset policy prescribes accounting treatment for tangible capital assets so that users of the financial report can discern the information about the investment in property, plant, and equipment and the changes in such investment. Asset classes and their maximum useful life are also identified in this policy. This document is attached. We also attach the village's current fleet and equipment list. So to conclude, staff's recommendation is that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that current fleet and equipment operational service levels of Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline remain status quo to ensure uninterrupted service delivery pending completion of a service level review by the new council. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion, go ahead, Deputy Reeve Milhoff.
Thank you, Reeve. I understand that we'll be going over this with interim council when you do a service level review. However, we have mechanics on staff. We do all of our own maintenance. Will we be able to bring in the equipment from the village into the newly formed municipality without having to increase staff allotment, et cetera, for our mechanical staff?
Go ahead, Director Magnus.
Good question. In response to your first half of that, we'll definitely have the opportunity upon completion of amalgamation, once that's signed off, to allow us the opportunity then to bring that equipment into our shop. So any maintenance work that needs to be done will definitely be taken on by our staff. I can only right now speculate. That would be a deeper conversation in regards to your second half in regards to the additional workload on our staff. That would be a conversation I would have to have with the team, particularly my fleet and equipment supervisor. So at that time, we'll have a better idea as to how much more of a per se, for lack of a better expression, burden it might place on us.
Supplementary?
Yes, supplementary, go ahead.
And this will probably be for Mr. Wright. How are you doing your maintenance currently? If you already have a mechanic on staff that will be then transitioning over with the newly formed municipality, and therefore that burden would already exist, and that staff member would already exist, and therefore it wouldn't be as much of a burden?
I'm not sure. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Wright.
In terms of our water treatment plant process and all our work and our equipment, things are in good order. We're replacing fleet as we go. Our water treatment plant systems, all the wells are pumps, and all those systems are under maintenance control and sampling and meeting all license requirements. And we're busy training some new personnel right now. that can carry on into the future for us as well.
So,
And Jacob's doing, go ahead.
Mr. Wright, we had already completed that particular agenda item
Yeah.
regarding water. This was specifically regarding your fleet management.
Yep.
And how you manage the maintenance required. For example, we do all of our maintenance, including emergency response vehicles, in-house. I was just asking a question regarding how
Yep.
you're doing yours, so that we know if our staff would be taking on that burden, or if you have a staff member coming over that is your mechanic already.
No, we don't have a mechanic. We have to use outsourced mechanics, depending on what the use and requirements are. And that's part of our normal practice with our public works superintendent. He looks after that in detail. And no, it is a moot point that if you have opportunities with amalgamation, we would have to go through the vehicles, supply all the history and information to them, and make a decision whether we continue to outsource a portion of the work or utilize staff that may be available through the county. Okay? We understand that. We've asked questions about and looked at the county operation ourselves, and we really appreciate the time that Rick spent with us coaching us and giving us the background on how you operate. Thank you.
All right, so with that, okay, go ahead, Mr.
Thank you. I may add to CEO Wright's comment and to answer Deputy Reeves' question. So this information, I think, has been provided in the last agenda item, which is the operational service level review in that big spreadsheet. So as per our previous meeting on March 4th with the village staff, this is the information I gained so far. So the village public works currently has 2 full-time staff. They are responsible for a variety of tasks. They are also hiring for another full-time certified wastewater and water operator. So these public works staff provides ongoing general maintenance for all equipment, such as welding, simple mechanical maintenance, oil change, lights, and light carpentry, like etc. And however, this is only covered a part of the maintenance task. In addition to the in-house maintenance, the village also use local mechanics or mechanics out of Rocky or Red Deers. Hope this answers your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on this item? If not, looking for a motion. Go ahead, Councillor Ratcliffe.
Motion that, according to staff recommendation, that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that the current fleet and equipment operational service levels of Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline remain status quo to ensure uninterrupted service delivery pending completion of a service level review by the new council.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing no lights or hands, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Yes. Yep. Thank you. That motion is carried. Councillor Ratcliffe, your light's still on. You're good? Okay, just making sure. All right. Now moving on to item 4.7, utility services and rates. Go ahead, Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Yuri. So currently, Clearwater County's utility rates include first, water and sewage rates. This is listed in number 1133/22, water and sewage bylaw. And the next is a garbage disposal fee as listed in number 1140/23, solid waste bylaw. These 2 bylaws are all attached for your reference. And utility service to counties' hamlets are provided by first, Forest Alberta Inc. and TransAlta in the supply and maintenance of streetlights and distribution of electrical energy. Second, Diamond Valley Gas Co-op Ltd. in the supply of natural gas. And currently, Clearwater County does not have any franchise agreements. For the Village of Caroline, so first, utility rates are outlined in the attached utility rate bylaw, including but not limited to residential and commercial water capital replacement fee, water consumption fee, sewer capital replacement fee, and sewer fee. Also the garbage fee and bulk water station rates. For the franchise agreement the village currently has, It includes electric distribution service from Forest Alberta, Inc. The current franchise fee is set at 12% of the distribution charges. And the natural gas services from ATCO, this franchise fee is set as 35% right now. And all these franchise agreements and documents are attached for reference. And for staff's recommendation is that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that current utility service and utility rates operational of Clearwater County and Village of Caroline remain status quo to ensure uninterrupted service delivery and current rates pending completion of a service level review by the new council. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion on this item? Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. Since Clearwater County doesn't have franchise agreements, what are those fees collected for, the municipal franchise fees? We don't have any of those, so I mean, it's obvious what a garbage one is collected for and the water station rates, like all of that stuff makes sense. But power and gas municipal franchise fees, what is their purpose?
Go ahead, Councillor Nelson.
From my understanding, we use Fortis's lines, so we have to pay for that, just like all in the county, we pay a line use. And ATCO, I believe, we use their pipelines for delivery of gas. If it's not correct, somebody correct me. That's my understanding.
Okay. Go ahead, Mayor Rimmer. Oh. You're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you, Reeve. So franchise fees are basically a tax that we apply that are charged to the residents and have that service. You don't have that in the county. That's correct. But a franchise fee means that we allow them to utilize our village to be able to bring all of their services into the village. Now, somebody else can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what a franchise fee is. That it's just like a McDonald's or a A&W. You want to operate within with A&W or that, you have to pay the franchise holder the franchise fee, and that's what this basically is.
Follow up, Deputy Reeve?
Yes, please, and thank you, Reeve. I would understand that if you were paying this fee to ADCO or to your power, like Fortis, this fee is actually to your residents. So I'm trying to understand, franchise fees are taxes put on your bill, like put on the resident's bill, not fees that you pay to the company. So I'm trying to understand what the village utilizes their franchise fee allotments for.
So what's your linear taxes? What do you charge for pipelines? What do you charge for well sites? What do you charge for? You get taxes from that, correct?
Those are dictated by the province.
Yes, but it's similar.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Haight, then I'll go to you, Councillor Nelson.
I'll try to explain. Franchise fees are paid to the municipality, so it's revenue for the municipality, and it's the power distribution rates, distribution tariffs that is essentially collected by the power company, Fortis, for example, from the end user, from the customer, and then they pass that on to the municipality. So it's like Fortis is collecting the distribution tariffs on behalf of the municipality, and then they pay it to the municipality. Does that help explain? And franchise agreements are usually, I think it's for 10 years at a time. I'm not certain on the exact details, but.
Maybe CEO Wright, he's got his hand up, maybe he could offer some more clarification. Go ahead, Ms. CEO Wright.
Yeah, basically, power and gas use our road right-of-ways and all through our community. The fee is paid by Fortis and gas to the village as they use our right-of-ways and our roadways and our systems, okay? And they occupy those. And that's the basic simple answer for that, and that's why there's a municipal fee that's incorporated into all of the towns and villages and city agreements, unless you operate your own, like City of Edmonton or City of Calgary or the other major cities, okay? But this is a municipal franchise fee, and it's paid for to the village for use and occupying the roads, the right-of-ways, etc. Okay, that's a simple approach. Okay, thank you.
Deputy Reeve?
Thank you, Reeve. Municipal franchise fees are not paid by ADCO and Fortis. Municipal franchise fees are paid by your residents. This is another tax that the Village of Caroline has added to the Village of Caroline residents. They are not paid by ADCO and Fortis. The linear taxes that ADCO and Fortis would have to pay, those go to your municipality for the road right-of-ways. Municipal franchise fees are a tax that you have given to your residents. My question is, what are you using that levy, that tax on your residents for? Are you building the distribution network? Does the Village of Caroline therefore own that distribution network? Therefore, the new municipality would be owning that distribution network. Therefore, the new municipality would be responsible for maintaining that distribution network and therefore require the franchise fees that you're putting on your residents.
No, we have to maintain our roads and right-of-ways. They occupy space in our roads and right-of-ways. This is part of the formal agreements. You can check with other towns, municipalities, cities, and it's all the same style of agreements, and they're usually prepared and put together through Alberta munis, okay? And that's a simple, clear answer at that. You consider a tax on residents. This is part of the process when you're looking at towns and villages and cities, okay? Sorry if that's confusing. We can pull out the agreements for you if you don't have them. I think we provided them to you. So thank you very much for your time.
So with that, for more information, I know you want to reply to that, Deputy Reeve. Go ahead.
Thank you, Reeve. Perhaps the CEO of the village needs to go through and figure out what municipal franchise fees are. They are absolutely a tax to the resident. They are not a tax paid by ADCO and Fortis. It is a tax that you get to choose the percentage for. You can vary that percentage or be like Clearwater County and not have one at all. And you get to choose what that tax is. My question was, what do you utilize that income for? Do you own your distribution network and therefore need the municipal franchise fee levy in order to pay to maintain and upgrade your distribution network?
Go ahead.
No, the municipal franchise fees are part of the agreements through the Alberta government and part of any agreements. This has been traditional in the village, similar to the town of Old, Innisfield, and everyone else, and that's the way it has been for a number of years. And it's very straightforward, very simple. If you call it a tax on residents, that's your perception, I guess, but that's not the way we see it with the present Alberta Munis agreements, okay? And we have not raised fees for a number of years at this point in time and would not consider that, okay? Thank you. Mayor Rimmer, do you have any other comments? Thank you.
I guess I'm going to rephrase Deputy Reeve Melhoff's question, and that is the revenue that you collect from this, does that go to general coffers? Does that go to enhance the infrastructure? That was her question, not what it was, but how are you using those franchise revenue?
Yeah, it comes in and is put into our revenue stream and is used to support our roadway maintenance and all our systems and that for all of the village.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Ratcliffe.
Thank you, Reeve. And the second question, which is quite important related to the first question, is do you own the gas distribution network in the village, or does ATCO own that distribution network?
ATCO owns the distribution network as part of the agreements with Alberta Munis and the government of Alberta as supplied to villages, towns, and cities.
So it would be completely outside any amalgamation agreements. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Haight.
Also, if I may add some more information regarding franchise fees. The fees are one of the ways a municipality can reduce a tax burden, as it provides a stream of revenue that accesses properties that are otherwise exempt from property taxes, such as schools, healthcare facilities, churches, and nonprofit organizations. So that's the franchise fees is a form of revenue for the municipality that kind of distributes the tax burden across the whole municipality rather than just a particular group, if that helps.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead, Councillor Graham.
I don't believe there's a motion on the floor.
Nope.
Okay, I would like to make a motion then, please, that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that current service levels and utility rates operational of Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline remain status quo to ensure uninterrupted service delivery and current rates pending completion of a service level review by the new council.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, no hands, no lights, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That motion, those opposed? Oh, did you? Okay, that's quick. Okay, good. That motion's carried. Thank you.
So I always forget that you're looking at multiple screens.
I'm looking at multiple
screens.
Yeah, exactly. All right, now finally moving on to item 4.8, and that's the Amalgamation Public Works Operations Service Level Review. Please, go ahead, Mr. Howe.
Thank you, Reed. So administration has reviewed the public works operations service levels of both the county and the village. A detailed overview of these programs is listed in the attached spreadsheet, and administration is very happy to answer any questions that the committee may have about this spreadsheet. Generally, these programs are divided into these following areas: shop and fleet, utilities, gravel and maintenance, public works administration, airport, surface roads, gravel roads, and solid waste. Some of the operational items, such as fleet and equipment, solid waste collections and landfills, sewage collection and treatment, utility service and rates, water treatment and distribution, have been mentioned in the previous agenda items. However, these programs are still included in the attached spreadsheet for comprehensive review. For staff's recommendation is that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that current public works operational service levels of Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline remain status quo to ensure uninterrupted service delivery pending completion of a service level review by the new council. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, go ahead, Councillor Nelson.
The people of the Village of Caroline would so appreciate a pass to the dump. It's one of our #1 topics.
Okay. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. Should the residents of the village, should we become the newly formed municipality, they would be treated, in my opinion, I'm one vote on that interim council, but in my opinion, would be treated the exact same as all of our residents, and all of our residents get a dump card. So there would be no difference with the residents in the newly formed hamlet, in my opinion. My question was for administration regarding dust control. The county aided in installation of SB 90 on the village's gravel roads. How is us changing our dust control policy going to potentially impact the service level within the village?
Go ahead, Director Magnus.
I'm gonna put a question back to you. Can you provide some more clarification on that?
Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Absolutely. The Strategic Planning Committee recommended that we remove SB 90 as a service level within the county. Is there going to be an opportunity for all of our hamlets to then have access to SB 90, unlike the policy that we just were presented? Or will another option for a better dust control than calcium be available for the hamlets within the newly formed municipality?
Okay. I think first and foremost, this would be assessed by infrastructure. So typically in this case, and I'll go back to some examples here, Condor being one, we, because of some of the work done on the sanitary lines and such, and curb and gutter, that entire hamlet was paved, so hot asphalt. Along with that, we're doing paving in Leslieville. And having said that, that would be at the discretion of the council, once the interim council, thereafter, as to what type of application you want and what you want with regards to the streets of Caroline. If we follow the trend, typically we're looking at pavement as well there. Okay, and having said that, that is entirely up to the direction of council and where they want to go with that hamlet in regards to upgrades to their road network system.
Thank you. Mr. Howe?
Thank you. Just want to add on to Director Mankin's comments. So for that specific section of SB 90, so it was constructed about 7 years ago, and county aided that. So however, all the maintenance are covered by the village. So I just want to add that.
Thank you. Some maintenance by the village and 7, 8 years ago. Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Graham.
I would like to make a motion that the Amalgamation Committee agrees that current Public Works operational service levels of Clearwater County and the Village of Caroline remain status quo to ensure uninterrupted service delivery pending the completion of a service level review by the new council.
Thank you for the motion. Discussion on the motion. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
Thank you, Reeve. Should we be looking at adding options or letting the Minister of Municipal Affairs know within this document that things like pavement are going to have to be considered? That is a significant difference in service level that may be required within that municipality. And hopefully there'll be grant options that are available in order to achieve that service level, because pavement is quite expensive. Within an urban network, it's over $1 million a block, I'm told, within an urban network. So perhaps we should add that as a consideration to go into the document to go to the minister.
Okay, motion on the floor in regards to staff recommendation. Any further comment to that motion? Seeing no hands, no lights, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That motion's carried. Thank you. Now, Deputy Reeve, did you want to make a subsequent motion then on that as far as added to the report?
Thank you, Reeve. I'd love us to have a discussion about
Okay.
it first. Is this something we're actually concerned about? Because
I
heard pavement and got scared. So, because pavement is extremely expensive. So is this something we need to address within the document going to the minister?
I believe it's outlined in the as well. It's outlined in the spreadsheet as well, but go ahead, Councillor Nelson.
I believe the $1 million figure includes water and sewer. So what paving we've done has been digging up the old water and sewer and paving over, and that came in, I think, at 1.2 million.
Thank you for the information. So as outlined here in the spreadsheet, okay, go ahead, CO Emmons.
Thank you. I just wanted to offer up maybe a perspective that if the interim or the newly formed council chose to up the service levels, because today their back alleys aren't. So if that council decided to up the ante, there would be grants available at that time. It could even be LGFF could apply. Said it wrong. Thank you. But it would be an increase in service level. I was gonna bring it back, and I think Director Magnus actually wrapped it up where I wanted it to go. It's always council that identifies the service level. And if this council, if an interim council, if the brand-new council decides that, you know what, every hamlet needs to be provided SB 90 for a back alley, that's a service level that's identified and we carry out. If it's pavement, it's a service level that's identified and we carry out. But I don't know if that would wrap up nicely in the amalgamation, because I do believe it would be seen as an increase.
Okay. Thank you for the information. So no added, or what is your, what is? I'm thinking that the new council will have that opportunity to have that discussion. I understand your concerns. But then again, we don't have that infrastructure study yet. So at that point in time, it's hard to make a decision, so. All right. So if there's no further discussion on this item, then I'm going to carry on. In item 5, there is a letter from a correspondence, 5.1. There's a letter from Municipal Affairs in regards to the update. Does anyone want to bring anything forward in that particular letter? If not, it's just there for information. And we could have a motion to accept for information. Okay, Councillor Cermak will make that motion to accept for information. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Yep, thank you. We do have a closed session. I'm looking at the time. Do we have an opportunity to go into closed session at this time? Or did we want to wait till after lunch? Did we want to make a motion to go into closed session? I'm just looking at the time as far as across the way. We could have an opportunity to, it's for verbal. Let's just have an, okay, so we'll go into closed session. So I'll have a motion to go into closed session, or someone, okay. Councillor Northcott, all those in favor? and welcome back from, we've just come out of closed session, and we do have a motion coming out of closed session, and I'll turn it over to Deputy Reeve Melhoff, please.
Thank you, Reeve. The committee requests the Village of Caroline admin forward copies of all grant applications put forth by the village to the provincial and federal government entities.
Any discussion in regards to the motion? Go ahead, Councillor Northcott.
I just wondered, should we put a time frame on that? Because that could be a big pile of paper.
Yep. Yeah. So a time for friendly amendment. So would you, Deputy Reeve Melhoff, would you like to add
I'd love to say as soon as possible, but perhaps before the next amalgamation meeting, would that be appropriate?
Okay. So that'd be May 24th. Go ahead, Councillor Northcott.
More specifically for the time frame back in history, because this is all previous information or previous applications.
Right.
From what point in time
Okay.
are we requesting?
Okay. Go ahead, Deputy Reeve.
My understanding would be, it would be all applications that are currently being considered. If they've already been denied or already, if they've already been, there'd be no reason for us to see those. These are applications that are currently being considered. I think that would be appropriate.
Okay.
Does that need a new motion, or is that understood to be the case?
That'd be, okay. I see some head nods on the other side. Perfect.
I think it's the village that needs to understand that more than ours.
Yep. All right, so with that, motion on the floor, seeing no more hands or blinky lights, I will call the question. All those in favor of that motion? And that motion is carried. Thank you. Now looking to the last agenda item of the day, adjournment. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Someone like to make that motion to adjourn? Okay. Thank you, Councillor, or thank you, Deputy Reeve Melhoff. All those in favor? And that motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I believe the next amalgamation meeting is on May 24th.